Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for day number 2 of the third test match. And I have to say, day number 1 was pretty eventful. We saw the Australians bowled out for 263 runs off only those 61 overs. England losing a couple early wickets, ending up on the end, or at the end of the day, 68 for 3. Currently, Joe Root at the crease sitting on 19 off 44. Bairstow, 1 off 19 deliveries. In England, they trail by 195. It's the first ballers bowled by Pat Cummins. Was able to pick himself up 2 wickets yesterday for the 28 runs. But like I mentioned, a very eventful first day of this test match. Wicket already. That's Joe Root gone. Second ball of the day, and Cummins has picked up his 3rd wicket. He looked nervous when he looked back at the umpires. That maybe that he was worried about his front foot. But Joe Root's gone. If that's not a no ball, which I don't think it is, we're going to see already a wicket falling for the English. Little bit shorter. Root pushes at it outside of off stump, and Warner managed to take the catch. What a catch that is. As well, it seemed like it was traveling in slow motion. David Warner saying it was like this. That's going to be the end of Joe Root's innings. 68 for 4 now, the English. I told you Cummins was going to do something yesterday, says PC Lover. Unfortunately, didn't do anything with the bat, did he? Got himself about a 3rd ball duck, which was a bit of a shame. Definitely because he has been batting so well throughout this Ashes series. But, I mean, that's certainly a way to start the day, isn't it? And, I mean, that pretty much has summarised this Ashes test match. The 3rd one, that is. It's just been all-out action all of the time. We will probably see Australia batting during that second session if the wicket keeps playing the way that it is, and if England aren't able to really dig their heels in. But now we're going to get to see Ben Stokes make his way to the middle. Hey, what? It was lucky we started the live stream when we did. We were probably about 30 seconds late, and we missed the first ball. We didn't say anything about it anyway. That was while we were doing the intro, and the second ball was all it took before that wicket did end up falling. But like I mentioned, Ben Stokes now. Is that Ben Stokes? I think it is. Yeah, it is. Ben Stokes, and what an innings he had last test match. .95 matches for him, closing in on the 6,000 runs as well for Benjamin Stokes. So there's a little bit of a field change here for the Australians, and yes, it is, says PC Lover. 3 slips, a gully. Still got the man at backward point. 2 men in front of the bat. The last wicket, Joe Root. That's a big one to get for the Australians. That means that both top orders, top 4 batsmen, have not really performed. Ooh, almost squaring up Ben Stokes for that burst delivery, but already off the mark, getting himself the single. Who will win this test cricket match, says Patrick? Well, after Australia got bowled out for 263, it looked like England had a fair crack in this one. But now that they've lost a couple more early wickets in their innings, and in fact 4 early wickets, I feel like it means that once again they're going to be chasing the test match. So it's whether or not this pitch deteriorates and gets worse to bat on later, or whether it does actually somehow get better, which might end up helping for the English final batting innings. But I think it's going to be very tough. From where's Uncle Hamish's dad? He is, I think at the moment, almost in the shower. I did see if he wanted to join for this one. He isn't joining today, but he might join for one of the future ones. He is definitely going to be joining us next week, though, for State of Origin on Wednesday. That will be probably the next time you get to see him, or maybe one of the other days of the Ashes test. I think England will be all out below 200, says BC Lover. To be honest, at the moment, it's a possibility. This pitch just has so much in it compared to last pitch, and we've seen that express pace has actually, it's caused quite a few outside edges. It's fantastic to see. Now Pat Cummins charging in again. 2 balls left. That one's left alone by Johnny Bairstow. Era has changed now. No one thinks of drawing test, says Neutrino. Definitely not when England are playing. We know that England are going to be attacking when they are out there on the park, which, I mean, is beneficial in a way because they have found success with that method. Of course, from this Ashes series, people have started saying maybe that's not the tactic England should be going with, but They've still got a very good win record in recent times. Are you looking forward to the Rugby Championship? I am. It feels like it's not as close as it is, if that makes sense. Like, I still thought we had maybe a day or two, but yeah, we're pretty much here for the championship. Only another day and 5 hours or something along those lines before South Africa take on the Aussies. That's a nice back foot punch out through cover for Johnny Bairstow. That'll close out the Cummins over, 73 for 4, but did manage to get that wicket of Joe Root early on. The first over of the day. If I don't talk much, I am editing video, says Brandon. I will keep that in mind. They're just showing Joe Root could have left it on length, but did end up getting lured into play it. Did hurt him. Going to be hilarious when England lose, says General Grievous. Sorry, said that wrong, didn't I? I mean, it's going to make it 3-0, and I know that a lot of people will. I mean, they'll be disappointed to see a 3-0 series. And, everyone wants a close series to a certain extent. Even the ones who want Australia to win, I think the general consensus was they want to see at least one English win, so that makes it that little bit closer. Are you going to do commentary for the Rugby Championship matches? We are. So we have got tomorrow, we will be doing South Africa versus Australia, New Zealand versus Argentina, and then also Japan XV versus All Blacks XV. It's off the outside edge for Stokes. Seriously delusional that people think England have a chance, says General Grievous. Yeah, but it's always one of those ones that you can never quite predict what's going to happen in a game of cricket. If you're saying the overall series, then maybe a little bit, but for a singular match, for the English to be able to win, like, anything's doable. We know what happened at Headingley. In fact, was it Headingley or Edgbaston not too long ago with Leach? And I mean, we saw Ben Stokes dig his heels in. Even last week, we got to see him do that exact same performance, just not quite turning it into a victory, but certainly cut down that deficit that the English were down by. Scotty Boland continuing his bowling. Only done 3 overs so far. Relatively fresh from the first 20 overs Australia's bowling. The session's still got another hour and 53 minutes remaining, so that is plenty of time for either England to start to rebuild or for the Australians try and get themselves a few more wickets. Once Stokes is gone, then you start to get a little bit further down the order. Looking at the likes of a Wokes, who can still bat. He's a very handy batsman. Mark Wood's in there, Stuart Broad, Ollie Robinson, and also Moeen Ali walking down the wicket there. Ben Stokes straight back to Scotty Boland after the bounce. England at the moment trailing by 186, and I believe at this point it was a very similar amount of runs with England 4 down as what it was for the Australians with 4 down. In fact, Australia might have had that little bit more of an advantage, but it was a brilliant performance from Mitchell Marsh. Pretty much completely turned the game around for Aussie. Oh, England. Says Gareth. A little bit leg side-ish, but Ben Stokes hits it well. Runs the first one hard. Does manage to get back for 2 comfortably. Him and Bairstow between the wickets. They are normally very good, normally on the same page. We've got the 3 slips in the gully here for Australia. 2 men down the ground at mid-on and mid-off. And that looks like a man at about, say, probably about a forward square leg. Kind of a back mid-wicket type region. Outside off stump, left alone by Stokes. I'm looking forward to the World Rugby Under-20 Championship playoffs in South Africa. Says Patrick. Yeah, it's going to be a good game between South Africa and the Irish. A few other warm-up games or a few of the lower-ranked finalist games are going to be pretty awesome to see. New Zealand versus Australia, always an exciting one to watch. Fiji versus Italy could be an intriguing one. That is actually for about 13th place. I think they're playing off for. Hello, Mr. Ferguson, says Grant. As England playing Ali only for batting. Well, I think they had intentions of bowling him as well. It's just the Aussie lineup didn't stick around anywhere near as long as England expected them to. Although when you look at the fact that they brought Mark Wood and Chris Wokes back in, and between them, they managed to get themselves 8 wickets. Like, they are certainly players that they might look to towards that fourth and fifth test. You've always got to have that spinner just in case the Aussies are digging their heels in. Come on, England, says Tony. Hope you are doing well. One ball remaining. Stokes sitting already on 7 off 7. Good ball. That one was swinging away nicely. 138 Ks for Scotty Boland, but that will be the end of the 21st over. 80 for 4. This must have only been, half an inch from Ben Stokes' bat. Very lucky to not get the outside edge on that one. In fact, on Snicko, that was extremely close for Ben Stokes, but no noise. Now it is going to be back to the other bowler, Pat Cummins, who was recently able to pick up his 3rd wicket of the innings. Looking to be making good time towards that 5-for, which we did see Mark Wood get himself in the first innings bowling for the English. Sevens Europe Rugby Sevens that started in Germany with the men's sevens and the sevens competing today. Says Patrick Brady. I know that there's also a few, I think there's qualification games coming up in the near future for the sevens side of things. I think it's in September, actually, that we're going to get to see the qualifiers for the Olympics. So, a few big sides haven't actually qualified for the Olympic Games in the Rugby Sevens as of yet. And I'm hoping we get to see the likes of a Samoa, Fiji, South Africa. I know that they haven't automatically qualified. Fiji have, which is good news, but Samoa, I believe they were just outside of that top 5. So Pat Cummins just getting told by the umpire to make sure that he's not running too far inwards, creating a little bit of rough perhaps. So that seemed like a relatively stern warning to Pat Cummins. Where was the follow through? Yeah, that is quite close to the danger zone. Stowe sitting on 5 of 23, just the one boundary today. That one stayed low from Pat Cummins. It'll be interesting to see how Todd Murphy goes with the ball in hand because, Mitchell Marsh, he was actually the man who picked up the other wicket. So he's had a pretty strong test match, getting himself the 100 runs. Also alongside that, getting himself the wicket to match. I strongly feel we will see Australia batting by the end of today. Just because as soon as they lose one of these two, it's still the middle order for England, but the way that this pitch is playing, it just seems like it's a bit of a landmine out there when it gets into that full pitch delivery or a little bit shorter than full. Makes it very tricky to know whether that ball's coming in or going away. Doing a little bit of both. Bairstow, be happy enough to be out in the middle. We know the controversy that happened last test match between him and Alex Carey. I don't know whether or not any more words have been exchanged between the two. Now Cummins pitches it up. That's the back leg of Bairstow, but it was the inside edge. Could have been quite plumb if he had not got the bat to it. That's a big thing for England. Just keep these two out there for a solid partnership. That's gone a long way in off the seam from Pat Cummins. In fact, it's gone that much, you almost want to say it's hit a crack. The way that it jumped to the side. 2 balls left of Cummins over. First 15 minutes, they've been eventful. Is this Cummins? Is this the 3rd over of the session? Has it taken 15 minutes to do 3 overs? I think it might have. What does that mean? We're only going to get a 24 over session, theoretically. That would not be ideal. I feel like someone could get themselves into trouble. The World Test Championship points. A few Australian supporters still in attendance, which is awesome to see. It's going to be interesting to see how many Aussies are over in South Africa for that Rugby Championship match. Nicely played off the back foot from Bairstow. Calls yes and gets the single to close out the over. 81 for 4. How do you like editing? It is your question. I enjoy editing. My problem sometimes is I'll edit a video that I know won't be going out on the channel, but I just edit it because I want to, and then you guys never see it. It just goes on a hard drive and it just kind of disappears from existence. But like the amount of videos that we've filmed that I've then edited and then that have never seen the light of day is actually more than you probably think. But nah, editing's good fun. It's a weird one because sometimes it feels like it's going real slow, and then other times you feel like you're flying by. Those men are sitting up on their roof. It is a steep roof as well. You wouldn't want to fall down that. Scotty Boland, continue his bowling. 14 runs off him. That was a big yawn. Bairstow on strike, 6 off 28 balls. Oh, he's cut that one away, Johnny Bairstow, but he sent it straight out to Todd Murphy, who was actually fielding in that same spot where Nathan Lyon would. Unfortunately, Nathan Lyon missing this matchup. He had played 100 consecutive test matches for the Australians. They were actually showing, I think it was on Instagram, they had the lineup of the last time that Nathan Lyon missed a test match, or I think the lineup that Nathan Lyon, yeah, I think it was the last time he missed a test match. And there were a few old names in there. Shane Watson was one. That's a great shot from Johnny Bairstow. That time it's gone to the side of Todd Murphy. That'll be 4 runs. Interestingly enough, Usman Khawaja was actually still in the side at that stage. A young Ashton Agar getting the opportunity with a bit of spin. And also Philip Hughes was actually in there. That was almost a no ball from Scotty Boland. And why Williamson stays on top in test ranking. Says Neutrino. I mean, he's not number one, is he? At the moment, Kane Williamson. And if he is, it would only be because of Labuschagne and whatnot not doing too well. Normally, it's dependent on, of course, your average and the amount of runs that you're scoring throughout the amount of games you're playing and everything like that. So, yeah, I think that's why Kane Williamson is still relatively up there. And because there's not that much test match cricket being played, the only players who can go up and down really are the English and the Aussies. Well ruled out already. A second ball of the day. Pat Cummins able to pick him up. And was that outside edge from Joe Root. Just got caught slightly playing the wrong delivery. Now Boland pitching it up to Bairstow. Okay, so they were talking about Folks there, and they were saying that they want Stokes in there as a batter, but they feel that he shouldn't be bowling due to an injury. So they've got to try and work out, I guess, who the replacement is. It didn't go too badly for them in the first innings. Our under 20 rugby team looks absolutely dejected. Says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Yeah, it wasn't their best tournament they've ever had. They came up against some very tough opposition in France. I think I think it was on the breakdown, wasn't it? They said that they felt that New Zealand were going to dominate the under 20 competition. And I think they just really got a reality check of how well some of these other sides are progressing in their under 20 game. Is England playing Ali as a batter? I believe so, but also he has that bowling option as well if they do need him. They just didn't in the first innings because, 60.4 overs, didn't really have to dig the heels in too much, and plus it was a pacey wicket. So Mark Wood was doing the job. Chris Wokes was doing the job. He did pretty well for his first test match since the West Indies series. How's that? There's a water sports fan. If you're appealing for Joe Root's one, it was very out. At the moment, looking to get Stokes and Bairstow. If they can get both of these two out before the end of this session, even before the end of the first hour of this session, will be absolutely crucial for the Australians. Bairstow, with those couple boundaries, he's moved up to 11 runs off 33 deliveries. They are just talking about players should be leaving it when it's outside of off stump. But a lot of players so far throughout this test match have found themselves slightly pushing at that ball, finding the outside edge. And you don't really want to be thrown away. You look at ICC Test ranking Williamson, says Neutrino, you are the one who was saying about how he's on top. So I'm assuming you know his rank. Neutrino. Oh, whipped to the leg side by Bairstow. I said it's 7th, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Yeah, the Kiwis, they're going to be going head to head with the Australians in the next stage of the Under-20 Championship. I think we might even be covering that game on the channel. Smith Labuschagne, head, then root, says Neutrino there. So you're saying you feel Williamson, if he's injured, he shouldn't be as high as he is, I guess? But then I guess that other question is who would you have above him if you're trying to take him out of the equation? Cummins to Stokes, captain to captain, left alone by Stokes outside off stump. Needs to be done because very tricky one to leave the ball. Love watching the breakdown. The comments and opinions they come up with at times. It's very head scratching. Says Hensel. See, that's the thing. Because I'm always pretty much completely impartial, I end up like, I always find it hard to give my opinion, if that makes sense, because I always worry, oh, people aren't going to like it or it's going to be wrong, which more than likely it probably will be, because as you guys know, I'm terrible at predictions, but I often like to sit on the fence just because it also makes it more fun watching a game from that neutral perspective. But yeah, they are very much AB supporters through and through on the breakdown. And so much for the English euphoria after yesterday, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi, although they're not in a terrible position at the moment. They've got two batsmen who are just starting to get set. And the Aussies at this stage, I believe they were on about the same runs for the same wicket. So as long as England can build a decent partnership, that is what helped Australia. Mitchell Marsh having his innings and getting around 113 runs or whatever it was, that really helped them at least get towards this total. Because when you look at that and you realise the rest of the team only scored 150, all it takes is a couple of these blokes for England, like Stokes and Bairstow, to get 30 runs, 50 runs each, and that helps them a long way towards where they want to be. Are they need an ex-forward player on the show also? Very true, mate. Says Hensel. Stokes again. Tries to whip it to the leg side. I think he might have said some bad words there. Ben Stokes, after not being able to whip it to the leg side, yeah, he's frustrated. And Stokes will start stoking the fire soon, says Hensel. Yeah, I'm actually going to quickly look at the fall of wickets for the Aussies, because I know that they lost their first 3 wickets pretty quickly. Same can be said about England, but I want to know what runs they were on when they lost their 4th wicket and what runs they were on when they lost their 5th. I think I just heard Ben Stokes yell out, "Sorry, Pat," as he wasn't quite ready when Cummins was running in. How much is this partnership worth? It's only maybe about, I'd say 20 at the moment, somewhere around there. And Amy, what do you think about the AB's lineup against the RGs, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi? Well, it's an interesting one because you look at it and you think Ian Foster picked this team, didn't he? And I feel like it's one of those lineups that when they said about how they had 6 or so new players in the squad that could make their debut, I think a lot of people expected to see more than one player making their debut in this game up against Argentina. But yeah, hopefully they go all right. I mean, there's some good mixes in there. I think Dane Cole's probably the most surprising out of the lineup, maybe alongside Josh Lord, just because maybe people weren't thinking they would go with the youngster in the starting side. I don't think will be impactful in the afternoon as Nathan Lyon's absence, says Neutrino. And I finally done Amish. Yes, says Brandon. That is good news. Mitchell Stark now coming into the bowling attack for the Aussies. They might also consider that good news. So for Aussie, the fall of wickets, they were 4 down for 85 runs. But then the big thing is the next time they lost a wicket was when they were on 240 runs. They're actually putting together about 100 and 100 and plenty, about 160 run partnership or something along those lines. Now Stark trying to get that one to swing back in, and Bairstow, and also not Root, sorry, Bairstow and Stokes at the moment. Their partnership is sitting on 19, I think. So yeah, wee way to go for them to get to that 160 mark. They're a tenth of the way there, though. A little bit more than a tenth. Not happy with the AB's team. Should have played more of the new guys to see how they go, says Hensel. It's leaving it fine, isn't it? Because if you don't start giving those young guys a crack now, you won't know whether they're going to be any good for that Rugby World Cup because, you just haven't got enough games. So the fact that they didn't go with Sean Stevenson, I did expect. It's not what I would have done, but it's what I thought Ian Foster would do, and it is what he did. Not having Sama Penny-Finau, I guess, makes sense. Having Papali'i off the bench, I think, was a little bit of an interesting one, but that might be just to try and see if he can fill in for Kane once Kane makes his way off the field. But yeah, interesting one. Dane Coles is a shambles, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Oh, he's chased the wide one. Johnny Bairstow. He's had a crack. He's unfortunately just been given a pie by Mitchell Stark, and he got the edge. Gets dismissed, and Bairstow gone for 12 now. Now England 5 down for 87 runs. Will be way harder against the Aussies in the box for the new guys, says Hensel. And gone Bairstow, says PC Lover. Just chased it. And Steve Smith does very well indeed to be able to take the catch. Well, here goes that 160 run partnership. What was it? 19. It stayed as 19, unfortunately. I may have jinxed that one. Apologise, English supporters. Now, Moen Ali will be making his way to the middle. Bowden Barrett at fullback instead of informed Stevenson is hideous, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. And Moen Ali next, or Chris Wokes, it is Moen Ali will be making his way to the middle. But yeah, there's just so many players who I thought could have had a real good shot that they were like, nah. Johnny should be dropped for the spirit of the game's sake. A joke, says Hensel. And they're like, I've been picking him as the wicketkeeper batsman, mainly for that batsman aspect. But he hasn't really been performing with the bat at the moment. So maybe they do look at someone like a Folks as a decent option. Question for you, Hamish. Are you free on Tuesday night? I want to make videos with you. You read my message, says Brandon. I have no idea what's happening next week. All I know is this week has been way busier than any other week we've had over the past 2 months. Even trying to find time to sleep at times has been tricky. So yeah, that might be a day that I end up trying to catch up on sleep, just depending on what happens. But yeah, busy time of the year, that is for sure, for ourselves. The eyeballs, I mean, they're getting more and more bloodshot. The voice at some stage will cut out, but what happens? It's all right. Coles is in for a slap. He's not liked one bite by the RG, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. And all Argentina need to do is just try and fire him up. Because if they can fire him up and he does something silly like give away a dumb penalty, that's going to cost the All Blacks dearly depending on the extent of it. Right, Moen Ali. Looks like they have got 2 slips at the moment. They've got a man in the deep on the leg side and a man in the deep, actually more fine leg, alongside deep square leg. Right. Moen Ali. Is Mitchell Stark going to give him the pitched up ball or the bouncer to start it off? Gives him the Yorker and nicely whipped off the pads by Moen Ali. Goes out to Todd Murphy for 1. A fight with Cole being on, says Brandon. The last wicket of Johnny Bairstow, 12 runs off 37 deliveries. Just not enough for England. It was wide outside of the off stump. Tried to have a lash at it. And a good take from Steve Smith. Somewhere where Australia have been that little bit more clinical than the English. And that is from being able to take those wickets. But Stokes is still at the middle, which means England still have that heartbeat of their side Still going. What time is the first match on tomorrow morning in the rugby, says Connor? So the first match is Japan XV versus All Blacks XV, and that will be taking place at 8 p.m. New Zealand time. The Rugby Championship, the first game is 3:05 a.m. New Zealand time on the Sunday morning. Oh, that one was pitched up from Mitchell Stark. It was good leave from Ben Stokes just outside of the off stump. If that had maybe nibbled in a little bit more off the seam, could have been a different story. Just seeing there the slash at it from Johnny Bairstow. It's a bit of a shame because, he played a couple nice shots where you can see their most catches in the Ashes. 51 at the moment, sitting on the same as Greg Chappell for the Australians. Ian Botham, that little bit higher, he was sitting on 54 of 32 matches. Are you streaming the cricket tomorrow? I don't believe so. And if we are, it would only be one session, I believe, just because of all the rugby that we have got coming up. But I believe we are going to be able to cover the final day of the cricket, which is very good news. That is if it goes to a final day. At the moment, that is looking unlikely. We might have a result by about halfway through day 4. But if that is the case, we should also possibly be able to cover near the end of that as well. Lavanini and Coles will kick off, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Yeah, and the preview that we recorded not too long ago for the Rugby Championship, that will be up tomorrow morning New Zealand time. We did have a few things to say about Dane Coles' selection. The match summary, 89 for 5 for the English. Currently 174 runs behind, but we know Moeen Ali can be a dangerous batsman when he starts finding his momentum. What they're going to need from him for this innings. I've mentioned Wokes, the next batsman, and then it's going to be Broad. Why not? Says Brandon. Why not? Which part for why not? For the preview, was it? Stokes sitting on 8. Moeen Ali sitting on 1. And Stokes has slowed down considerably since when he started. He was sitting on 7 off 7. I don't think it is raining tomorrow in Leeds, but I don't know since I live in London, says Ahmad. Yeah, they were actually talking about this test match having a little bit of rain around, but we haven't really seen that as of yet. It's been pretty decent. When will England realise the baseball for ODI and T20? I mean, it's hard to say though, isn't it? Because for England, up until this test series up against Australia, baseball's been effective. They've been getting win after win. So, it's one of those ones that maybe it doesn't work against certain sides, but it's certainly effective up against others. And we've got to remember at the moment, Australia, they are the World Test champions. So you wonder whether they were using baseball or whether they were using just general play. There was still a very high chance that England were going to lose to Australia. But I guess because people, they either like or hate the baseball style, it makes it tricky because when they win, people say it's great. When they lose, people say it's terrible. Are you going to stream England versus New Zealand cricket? Maybe. It is a wee way away, of course, so we will have to wait and see what overlaps there are and everything along those lines. I'm hoping to do some of it, of course. Rugby England and Wimbledon, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. And also my wife, say hi to Ava. Hello, Ava. And will Stokes play aggressive like previous match or slow as the wickets are down, says PC. I think he's going to go a little bit slower for now because the difference is on this surface, you can't afford to make half a mistake. Like Bairstow tried to accelerate with that wider delivery and got reminded that this pitch is not easy to bat on. Went out, unfortunately. Now Cummins, on the ball to Moeen Ali, does shoulder his arms to it outside of off stump. Like they're saying, just that little bit of movement off the seam. It's been all it's needed to find those wickets. 172 is still a long way off for the English here. Know that Australia Ideally, they will want to bowl England out by Moeen Ali. But it seems to be the trend is if you can find yourself past maybe that, I think it's about 20 runs on this pitch. If you can get past 20 runs, you can start getting yourself a few extra and, convert it into a decent enough total. Not many batsmen have been able to do that so far. I think Mitchell Marsh might be one of the only batsmen who's actually made it past 20. She's going away for the day. She wants somebody to keep an eye on me. Says Miranda, that's another short ball from Cummins. And they were just showing Mitchell Marsh. I don't think he'll be a mile off getting himself another crack with the ball in hand, and Cummins will definitely take 5 wickets. There's BC Lover. Yeah, I think he's definitely in a good mindset at the moment. He seems to enjoy bowling on a pitch like this, how, there's just enough in it for the bowlers that if you get it in that right spot, that natural variation can take the ball away. If England avoided the follow-on, they have, yes. But also the follow-on, I believe, wasn't possible for them in this case, seeing as, it was going to be England batting last. Oh, no, sorry, my apologies. I meant the other way around, but yeah, they are less than the 171. They needed to be under 200. So if they hadn't avoided the follow-on, a lot would have gone wrong in that innings. Stark going to continue. 1 wicket so far, and it was the wicket of Johnny Bairstow. They are just showing Sean Marsh celebrating Mitchell Marsh's 100 runs that he was able to get for himself. Pretty piss poor performance by the English thus far. Was expecting more from them. I think Marshy's knock is the difference, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. And some people would argue the reason Mitchell Marsh found success was because he was more aggressive in the way that he was batting. He didn't allow the bowlers to start to find that length. He was almost playing a bit of baseball against Baz's team. Luckily for England, the weather report rain is pretty dire after today, says Justin Charles. Is that why both sides have decided to lose so many wickets early? They just decided we've got to try and get it done in like 2 or 3 days. Imagine England lose 5 wickets, right? And then Australia at the end of today already find themselves at like 6 or 7 down. The thing is, it's completely possible. We saw 13 wickets fall yesterday. A shot again by Moeen Ali. At the moment, he is batting very well, just rotating the strike. He's had 3 singles so far. It only takes 1 big wicket. In fact, I'd say 2 big wickets for Australia at the moment. They still need to get out one of these 2, and then also maybe Wokes. Then you get into the tailwinders. Stuart Broad, I expect that they will be bowling quite a few short deliveries to him. More than likely, that just seems to be the tactic that both sides have used when bowling to tailwinders. We've also got Robinson, and they've got Mark Wood. I think those are all of the bowlers for the English. Alex Robiucci was good. We did end up filming that podcast, and then also alongside that, we ended up recording an extra 2 previews. So they will be going up on the channel tomorrow morning if England draw or lose. Australia regain the Ashes. Says Mart. Yeah, so I believe if it is a draw in this one, there is no way that England can win this Ashes series. They can draw it, but of course it wouldn't end up with them getting those Ashes back. So it's a massive test match for them. They need to try and go on and win 3 in a row, which be relatively tricky. Ben Stokes, he's going to be one of the big keys for them when it comes to trying to chase it down. It was a nice swing and delivery from Mitchell Stark again, but well watched by Ben Stokes. Made sure that he got the foot right to the pace or right to the bounce of the ball. He just said Mo and gave him a little nod, so I think that might have been maybe the outswinger. Orthodox swing for Mitchell Stark. And Moeen Ali back on strike. 3 runs for him off 6 deliveries. Hasn't gone into that negative mindset of just making his way to the middle. He's decided he needs to be a little bit, I guess, progressive towards getting a few runs on the board. At the 3 singles so far. Two men in the deep on the leg side, the deep fine leg and the deep backward square leg, 2 slips in a gully, backward point, and then also mid on and mid off. And of course the back pad, the man nice and close, hoping to get that little bounce off of Moeen Ali's gloves or bat. That was down the leg side, nicely whipped by Moeen Ali, plenty of speed on it, well fielded by Scott Boland. And that is kept to just one, so very nicely done by the big Aussie quick. Yes, you have to knock the champion off the pedestal, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Showing a Bunnings ad. That's why I was so mesmerised. Me and George went to Bunnings a little while ago. I mentioned that on the channel. We'll have to go back again at some stage, I'd say. Bunnings, it's a great store. You go in not needing anything and come out wanting everything. But you end up getting a sausage at the sausage sizzle. That always seems like a good idea. I don't know whether or not that's just a weekend thing that they do, or I'd assume it's a weekend thing. So maybe me and George are going to go up on the weekend at some stage. As he found Bunnings snags absolutely phenomenal. What's the point flying out to Vita Mafaleo? Fletcher Nall's replacement over to Argentina just to warm up and not to play. He's not even in the bench, says Ryan Sims. I mean, it's all about getting those players into the environment, because you could ask the same question about someone like a Tamaiti Williams. You know, he wasn't coming in as an injury replacement. Sean Stevenson, he's in the same boat. They've brought him over, and I think the reasoning behind it was they said that they want to get those guys in their environment. They want to see what they're going to do in terms of training, if they're going to train hard, work hard for this team, and then from there they'll decide whether or not they're going to bring them in. But, I mean, Mafaleo, he'll be happy enough getting himself that little bit of an opportunity to go over there, see what happens. Are you surprised they didn't bring Wokes before Moeen Ali? No. I think Moeen Ali was always going to be that man just a little bit higher up the order, definitely because we were going to see more bowling from Wokes, and we did see more bowling from Wokes in that first spell. So, yeah, Moeen Ali down the order a little bit more, sitting at 6. Sitting at 7, I should say, makes sense to me. Another single taken, plus he's a very handy bat. So is Chris Wokes, but Moeen Ali, decent spot for him. And Bunnings is the best place to go if you want to spend money that you did not plan to spend. Yep, pretty much. That's like the warehouse, isn't it, over here? Or Kmart. You just go into a shop and you're like, right, what do I need? You're like, okay, I need some plates. You walk out with a microwave. You just don't know how it happened, but you just do. Bunnings, you go in there looking for a strawberry plant. You walk out with a trailer or a heat lamp and a sausage from the sausage sizzle. And you can keep it hot because you've got the heat lamp. And Stokes, a run taken there. Weird walk down the pitch there for him, slightly advancing. 27.3 overs down at the moment for the English. 5 down. So, big question, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to answer yes or no. With England sitting 5 wickets down, 27.3 overs in, will England face more than 60.4 overs or less? That wasn't a yes or no question, I just realised. Will England face more than 60.4 overs? Yes or no? At the moment, I'm not sure. It's another no ball, so it's going to take a while to get there. Australia can't keep their foot behind the line. Is Ali going to play Test cricket after the Ashes? I don't think so. I think he got brought out of retirement just for this Ashes series, and then he's just going to go back to chilling. So it's Interesting choice for England, seeing as they didn't go with a young spinner that might have been a future prospect. Oh, now Ben Stokes has advanced a long way there, but he was down the pitch. The question is bounce here. I think they like this one. In line, you reckon? They're going to go upstairs, and the fact that it is Ben Stokes makes them want to go for it just that little bit more. I try be up to like 2 hour, yes, says Brandon. Currently, England, they have got 3 reviews remaining. Same with Australia. They're going to be checking for LBW here. The big thing is he did advance quite a long way down, but whether or not he's in line will be the big deciding factor. See here from Scotty Boland. This could be a massive moment in this test match. Oh. Now that's in line, I think. Or might I, oh, it's either in line or umpire's call. I'm going to say it might be umpire's call. Was there an inside edge? There was not. Okay, this could be close. I think it could end up umpire's call. Just outside of the line, perhaps. Umpire's call, and then went on to hit the red. He's going to stay with his on-field decision of not out, even though it is hitting the middle of middle stump. Because it is umpire's call, it means that it will be not out. So Ben Stokes, he'll be thinking himself possibly a little bit lucky there. When was the last time we dominated? New Zealand rugby's been exposed to almost a brain fog. Is Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi? Yeah, because I guess it's that question as well of have New Zealand rugby gone backwards that much, or is it just that the gap between them and other sides has slowly decreased? That was well done, though, by Ben Stokes to get out in front. So Australia retained their review, so it's still 3 each for the 2 sides. Now Scott Boland. Normally, you're at your most vulnerable when you've almost gone out, and Ben Stokes plays that one extremely late. 140 Ks from Boland. Just to clarify, if that was given out, it would have stayed out for Ben Stokes. I think it's a combo for both. Oh, both for the AB, says Hensel there. Because I think other teams still do need credit. They have come a long way. The likes of France, Ireland, they've been playing very well as of late. Even Argentina, they're going to be playing them this weekend. But I feel like that game, a lot of people feel it's going to be a lot closer than what they may have for past years. End of the over, 97 for 5 now. He thinks that the ABs are under more learnings over in RG land. Molinari and Ben Stokes, their partnership continues to grow. Currently sitting on about 9 runs, I believe, with that no ball thrown into the middle. New Zealand Ireland got same idea, says Brandon. Oh, who's the bowler now? Oh, okay, still Mitchell Starc. I got all excited. I was thinking, wait, who else could they go with? They've still got the option of Mitchell Marsh again that they might consider giving a crack at some point in the future. They've got Todd Murphy if they wanted to go for some spin, although to Ben Stokes, I don't think that would be the best option currently. I feel like against the pace, he hasn't been able to score as freely as they'd normally like to. So for Australia, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. If it's working to slow them down, keep it going for now. Are you streaming New Zealand versus UAE cricket? I don't have plans to, no. I'm not even sure when that has taken place, to be honest, for that one. But, yeah, I think the only real cricket that we are streaming in the near future is, of course, the Ashes. And then after that, probably, the series you mentioned earlier on, New Zealand versus England. I don't think we've got too many other international series that we are covering. Just off the top of my head, I think we have got a lot more rugby coming up with the international window, the Rugby World Cup also here, and we're going to have a few GoPro cricket videos making their way onto the channel as well, though. It's a nice ball, lofted. Molinari ends up almost hitting it Pat Cummins, but it goes off the bounce. I think Cummins was taunting him there, trying to get him to hit that ball slightly further up. Let's finish the first hour of play. I think England were on about 18 overs faced, so maybe a little bit slower from the Australians than they would have liked. Are you streaming any matches from the Cricket World Cup? Probably not at this stage. Mainly because in the past we haven't really covered a huge amount of ODI. Just sometimes the length of it can be pretty taxing or pretty draining when you have got about 9 hours of watching cricket in a row. But then it's not just that side of it, it's also the fact that they're on in the middle of the night. So it's pretty much sacrificing a whole night's sleep for the game of cricket. And we're already going to be doing that with the rugby. So that might be a bit brutal. We might stream a couple of the games if we're very lucky, but yeah, probably not a huge amount of the ODI World Cup just because of the sleep schedule. Question for you, Hamish. Do you think Italy will win to the All Blacks one day? I mean, Italy have come a long way in the last little while, so there's the possibility in the future, I think, of them beating quite a few of those top sides around the world. Stokes again plays it well. Only 2 balls remaining of the Stark over. An economy of only, or an over run rate of about 2.3. So he hasn't been hugely expensive here, Stark, which is a big difference compared to what we saw in the last match. They actually really tried to go after Stark for that Edgbaston test. Because that Headingley, you can't really afford to, definitely not with that margin for error being so small. But the way the ball is swinging, oh, that one's at Stokes in the box. That wouldn't have felt too nice. He looks more disappointed in the fact that his glove got dirty than anything else. Or no, it might have been a little bit below the box. It might have been quite lucky there, Ben Stokes. I think it got him in the thigh pad. "29 deliveries faced, and he's only scored 3 runs since the 7th ball." Oh, that was almost half a chance for Cummins there again. Just seems to be that little scoop towards mid-on that the English are having currently. That'll be the end of another over. Currently 10:53 p.m. here in New Zealand, so we are getting slightly closer. The end of the first session. England still 5 down. Be more than happy if they are still batting at the end of the session, and even more happy if they are only those 5 wickets down. I mentioned how Australia, they had that big partnership with Travis Head and Mitchell Marsh, when Marsh was able to score himself whole heap of runs at a strike rate of about 100. They're just showing Stokes' scoring areas. He's got a huge amount of runs on the league side in that last test match at Edgbaston. Whereas on the offside, he's not quite as confident. I believe it is for that same reason as what we just saw for the Johnny Bairstow dismissal, and that is that the ball, if it bounces awkwardly or seems in a different direction, there's a chance of that outside edge. And at the moment, Australia, they're taking a lot of their catches, not really allowing too many mistakes. And I mean, England, we saw the frustration from Joe Root when he was able to take the catch of, I think it was Alex Carey. No, it was Travis Head he ended up catching, but he dropped Alex Carey. And when he took the catch, he just threw the ball into the ground. He was that frustrated with the way that England and himself have been fielding and taking their catches. The pitch up one from Boland, starting to really find his line. Not straying away from that middle stump too often. I think that's why we're going to see Ben Stokes using his footwork so much. Try and take LBW out of that equation. Oh. Cummins is going like this. Now, that makes me think off spin, but I don't know who he was doing that to. I hope he was saying to someone that we're going to bring in a little bit of spin. They might end up replacing Mitchell Stark with the spin, perhaps. Like Boland, he is now going to be bowling his fourth over. But that might have also been maybe the offside or something along those lines, because I think he went like that and then he went like that or something. So maybe that's just a little bit of code words from him and Steve Smith or Alex Carey, whoever he was talking to. I wouldn't mind seeing Todd Murphy get a crack, though. Only 30 overs in, and it has been a pitch for pace bowling. So you wonder whether or not by giving a spinner an opportunity, maybe that would actually slightly take away the momentum from the Australians. Moeen Ali, we know he likes spin, bowls it himself, but he also likes facing it. Has a bit of a swing. Christopher Hamish, are you covering this one day? Says Brandon, at this stage, we don't really have any plans of doing any basketball, but never say never. It's mainly because we just don't know anything about it, to be honest. Like, I know maybe 3 NBA players, if I'm lucky. That is another no ball from Scott Boland. So the second test match, it was England with a lot of no balls. In this test match, it's been Australia who have been bowling their fair few of them. Cummins has already bowled one today. Boland, I think that's his second or his third. Now Boland again. 2 balls remaining. He's making it harder work for himself. Oh, this is a chance. If it was a direct hit of Moeen Ali's end, he could have been in trouble, but they do manage to scamper through for the single there, England. Crowd well and truly getting behind them at the moment. The man with the trumpet still in attendance. Stokes, he moves up to 11. Hamish, question for you, Hamish. Are you covering rugby league on Wednesday? Sorry for a lot of questions. Says Brandon, we are indeed covering State of Origin, myself and Dad, for that one. And the good news is I believe that is the day after, or maybe 2 days after the test match ends. So shouldn't be too many overlaps in that regard. On Ali, plays that one off the back foot. That'll be the end of the 30th over. 101 for 5. Oh, Moeen Ali would have actually been gone had that one hit the wickets, because the bat actually got stuck in the side of the pitch, I think it was. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been. Oh, do you know what the worst thing is? Ben Stokes would have been dead and buried as well, with the fact that Cummins went for the wicketkeeper's end. And I think he may have realised not just that Ali was almost gone, but yeah, Ben Stokes wouldn't have actually got through for that single. Here we go. Here's Todd Murphy with the ball in hand. So that did mean we're going to give the offie a little bit of a chance. Right. Todd Murphy. Big opportunity for this youngster. Some people say there are similarities between him and Harry Potter. I think it's just the glasses, though. Right hand off break, 22 years of age, and a great opportunity for him. Unfortunately, though, first batsman who he has to bowl to is Ben Stokes. Only played 5 test matches for the Australians. Like they're saying, in a couple of those test matches, very favourable to spin. Big opportunity for him on a surface that is more for the pace bowlers, you'd have to say. Here he goes, Todd Murphy to Ben Stokes. First ball a little bit leg side, but they have got the field set for that. Usman Khawaja was right there ready for it. And it's a dot ball for Murphy off the get-go. 93k, so a little bit quick. So, wanted to keep that one a little bit flatter as well. Oh, that was down the leg side. On Todd Murphy. Don't know whether or not that was just a loosener or whether that was actually the one that he was tactically trying to do, get Ben Stokes playing on his leg side. Ben Stokes wants something moved behind the bowler's arm. I've just said that Nathan Liney struggled at this ground a couple years ago So for Todd Murphy now to have that opportunity, that will be the single down the ground. A nice easy single to take there. And I think that's going to be the tactic for England. Just try and get as many singles rotating on the board as you can. And also go for that occasional boundary off the bad ball. Right, Labuschagne has moved into short leg for Moeen Ali. Seems like other than that, those still a very similar field to what they have for Ben Stokes. Ali thought about driving down the ground to hit it straight back to Todd Murphy. Ali, he will definitely not want to go out to his opposite number, or not his opposite number, but his opposite in the other team with the fact that he is also a spinner. No spinner likes to go out to a spinner. Like when the paceys, they don't want to go out to the guys bowling quick at them as well. One ball left to Murphy's over. Just gone for the 1 run so far. Just wanting them to move the sight screen a little bit. Should mention that Murphy is going around the wicket. Was a little bit shorter. That'll be the end of the over. Only the 1 run off it from Ben Stokes' drive down the ground. That'll be 102 for 5. We have now got the drinks break. There we go. The drinks break. 15-run partnership between these two. 1 hour remaining in this first session. And for England, being anything less than 6 down, I'd say. Well, sorry, anything less than 7 down. 6 down would be unfortunate for them, but they do only lose 1 more wicket throughout this next hour at the worst. Still slowly be working their way towards this total, but ideally they don't want to lose any of those wickets, because as soon as you do, yeah, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble, and they could find themselves bowling again by the end of today. In fact, there might be a decent enough chance that it is going to be taking place. Every time they play an ad, my brain, it's like when a dog sees, like, I don't know, when a dog sees a ball bouncing, like going across the lawn, or a cat sees a bird in a tree. Anytime they show an ad here, I just end up, my face just goes, it's like a kid watching a cartoon show. Like, I just forget that I'm doing a live stream. I just watch the ads. But England 166 runs, still trailing by. And my scoreboard's slow, so that's changed a little bit. Only a little bit, but still has changed nonetheless. 102 for 5 currently. 161 runs they do trail by. Todd Murphy's first over in this test match, not too bad at all. I'm wondering whether Scott Bowler will continue from the other end, or whether they decide to change that. Maybe go with Mitchell Marsh, or is that too much of a risk, having 2 guys who haven't really been doing too much bowling? And definitely not bowling together. We're about to find it out, though. Where is he? I think Scott Boland will want 1 more. Starter play 68 for 3 they were. There's another big yawn. Got to be wide awake, though, for tomorrow night and the Rugby Championship. We are going to be covering those games in the middle of the night, which is why, ideally, I am hoping to be asleep until probably late afternoon tomorrow, this Saturday. If we can sleep most of the day, would be ideal. And yeah, we've still got 2 videos, though, that will be coming out tomorrow. Preview of both of those Rugby Championship matches. Got the All Blacks 15 taking on the Japan 15. Then also, of course, those matches for the Rugby Championship. Next batsman to the crease will be Chris Wokes. And they have got Mark Wood, Ollie Robinson, and Stuart Broad is actually batting 11 for this matchup. I would assume that is trying to evade some of those aggressive bounces that he has been bowled recently. He's still got bruises all up his arms. Got hit in the back of the head twice in the last test match, which was pretty ugly to watch. Now the drinks break over. Is it still going to be Scott Boland? Yes, it is. He's going to be continuing his spell. A bit leg side-ish and nicely whipped away by Ben Stokes. Should be the 2 runs. Mitchell Stark running around on the boundary. Let's cut it off. And 60 runs now the English trail by. Oh, sorry, 159. So they're still roundabout. If this partnership, last time I said the same statement was when they lost a wicket, so I'm going to try and say it without costing them a wicket here. But all they need is a good partnership between these two, and then that would well and truly change the innings for them. 50-run partnership between these two would be massive. Anything higher would be even better. And so just having a chat with the umpire. I don't think it was about anything too bad. They were just having a bit of a laugh. On Ali now back on strike. Boland, I'd say they'll probably give him maybe one more over after this and then go back to either Cummins or Mitchell Marsh. Oh, Peach. Great delivery from Scott Boland. Got that one to go past the outside edge. Just right on the money there. With Boland going round the wicket. Does look like it's going to go just that little bit further inwards and then seamed away. Do you think Stokes will reach 50 plus, says Ryan Walker? Right. Well, if I say yes, he won't. If I say no, he will, because that is how unlucky I am with my cricket predictions and also how much of a commentator's curse I've had in recent times. But I'm going to say he's on 15 at the moment, so I'm going to say yes. But if he doesn't, it's because he's run out of batsmen at the other end. But he should be able to get there by the time that they lose 4 wickets, 5 wickets, in fact, I'd like to think. So, yeah, I'd say he is going to get the 50. And I'm sorry if I just jinxed him. Oh, lucky I didn't say Moeen Ali was going to get 50. That was very close to the outside edge again. I'm sure he's feeling a little bit frustrated, Moeen Ali. He normally likes to attack the bowlers a little bit more, go for those big shots out through cover, and also to the leg side. Let's hope so, mate, says Ryan Walker. Wait, so you're hoping he is going to get the 50 or you're hoping I'm going to jinx him? Which one? I assume hope that he's going to get the 50. Maybe. Ooh, Moeen Ali had to hit that one, though. This is going to be a quick scampered run. Nicely done now. I should mention, though, Ben Stokes, anytime he runs that quick single, is not showing express pace. So I actually think the best chance Aussie have of getting Ben Stokes out is probably when he tries to take that quick single. Because rather than going to Ben Stokes in, they went to Moeen Ali's last time. And Ali was short of his ground, but so was Stokes. Yes, I'm an Englishman. But I also have pound on him to get 50 plus. Okay. A lot of pounds or a singular pound on him to get the 50? I hope he can get there for you. Like I said, I'm normally pretty unlucky when it comes to predicting things. Normally I jinx players more than I help them. Just $40, or sorry, £40. That's a decent bet. I remember when my biggest cricket bet was 63 cents, I think, because like I said, I'm terrible at predicting, but my account, like I got like a bonus from them. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll try and bet on something, and then got pretty much all of it wrong. And then he had 63 cents left, and then the guy who I backed didn't do what he was supposed to. So yeah, I think my TAB account still has 5 cents in it, just so that I can watch things through it, because they don't let you. That man's got a suit on and he's on the roof. Fair enough. What's the return on that, Ryan Walker? Out of curiosity, I assume you would have backed. Well, you've still probably backed him relatively early, even if you backed him now. Oh, that one was almost popping back to Murphy from Stokes. Looks like he wants something. He's waving to someone, maybe waving to that man on the roof. Oh, it's actually the Nine Now or Nine News commentator. So that's why that man's wearing the suit on the roof. It's because he's actually a part of like a news outfit. A shame Boland didn't get Stokes out. Says Hanoi. Yeah, if it was given out, it would have been kept as out because of umpire's call. But yeah, the Nine News. I kind of want to see that interview now, the fact that they are interviewing the man who's sitting on his roof. £100, mate. I usually bet on horses, but I do love a cricket bat. What part of New Zealand, or sorry, a cricket bet? What part of New Zealand you're from? So not many people know of my town. So the easiest way I say is halfway in between Christchurch and Dunedin, or if you know New Zealand a little bit more, halfway in between Timaru and Oamaru in South Canterbury. But normally in between Christchurch and Dunedin, smack bang in the middle is the easiest way of describing it. Benedict Stokes. There's Ibrahim. If he does a headstand, he'll be from Six News. True. Mhm. Did you see the Raiders try celebration? I did not. What ended up happening? Annoy. Was that for one of the recent NRL games that just took place? Or about a few hours ago? Was that the 8 p.m. game or the 10 p.m. game? Now, Murphy, well fielded there from Steve Smith. At the moment, Murphy, they're just keeping Ben Stokes tied down. Sitting on 15 off 44, sup, says Amelia. Welcome in. The reenacted Bairstow's wicket. Well, that would have fired up some people, I'm sure. Ooh, Ben Stokes advances down the wicket for that one. 107 for 5 now. 10 p.m. New Zealand time, I think, says Hanoi. So is that game still taking place, Hanoi? Murphy, 2 overs bowled. Oh, here we go. They are just showing it now. Yeah, so they're just showing the clip. Michael Atherton enjoyed it. And Moeen Ali, 8 runs still for him. He's no, I don't want to jinx him. I was about to say he's probably got a decent crack of getting a 50 as well, if he can stay out there. Looks like Ben Stokes is getting his butt rubbed. No, I think that's his hip. I can't tell, but from this angle, looks like that man's got his hand in him like he's a ventriloquist doll. Yeah, looks like a glute or something like that. I'm guessing you want Australia to win as they're your neighbours. Oh, don't you have a preference? I don't really have a preference. To be honest, normally with our commentary, we're always impartial. And I think for this Ashes series, to be honest, the Australians are going to get mad at me now, Ryan, but I kind of want to see England win because I'd love to see a 2-all series. Yeah, Ben Stokes is actually, that's kind of the upper arse, if you'd like the terminology. So what would he have pulled there to get to that point? Like, yeah, so it's something up in like maybe in the top of the butt cheek or the lower spine for Ben Stokes, which is why I mentioned earlier on he's probably a decent man to try and run out. He's disappointed by England in these Ashes so far. The results so far would be bad in normal times, but considering how good they've been in the last year, hasn't this been a bit of a disaster so far? Not necessarily. Like I feel like a lot of people came into this Ashes series expecting Bazball to be an instant fix to take on the number 1 test side in the world. We've got to remember Australia just won the World Test Championship. So it was never going to be as simple as we'll hit the ball hard and we'll hit the ball a lot more and get more runs than the opposition because we're used to hitting the ball hard. It was going to be a little bit more of a learning process for them. This is the first time they've played Australia since Bazball's existed. And that first test match, the only reason we got a result was because England were aggressive and they managed to score their runs in a quick hurry. Yes, they didn't get the result. in their favour, but it was due to that we saw a result. Second test match, only losing by around that 45 runs, which I mean, we saw some heroics from Ben Stokes, even though they didn't quite get all the way. So, I'd say it's not surprising how the series has gone so far, but there's still potential there because the question you've got to ask yourself as well is say England had played a normal test series here rather than more aggressive batting. The chances are they would have still lost these test matches because of the way that they had been playing prior to Bazball. You look at the Ashes series in Australia, they didn't look too flash. And the problem is with this Australian bowling attack, if they were still picking up those wickets without England playing their more aggressive cricket and maybe getting themselves a few more runs in the process, then you're still in that scenario of England could have been losing these test matches by actually more than if they were playing Bazball. Who is England's next good spinner, do you think? Well, it's a good question. The problem is they don't really give any of their spinners a crack because they brought Moeen Ali out of retirement for the Ashes. But there's another real young guy. I mean, we saw Dom Bess, he's all right, but he's only really played in spin-friendly conditions at times, and when he doesn't, he does get smacked around a little bit, but I still rate him as a good spinner for the future. But being on track to be 3-0 down in 3 tests is a bit grim for a good English side playing on England, or in England. I mean, some would say yes, but then, when they were playing in Australia, the big question I think on a lot of people's minds is if they had used this tactic for 2019, could it have been effective in Australian conditions where the batting, it does favour those players who get themselves in and just bat for a long period of time. And if they're being aggressive, they'll score extra runs, they'll get more bang for their buck. So, you know, it's a tricky question that if only it was in Australia this year to see the Bazball in its natural habitat, I would say. GB has said, I'm not actually watching the cricket, I'm watching the AFL. Here's a thumbs up to you, my man. You're even doing the Ashes, legend. I follow you for my rugby. Go the Highlanders, says GB. Speaking of Highlanders, Ethan de Groot, Shannon Frizzell, Aaron Smith, all getting themselves the opportunity for the All Blacks tomorrow night up against Argentina. We will be covering that game on the channel. It will be starting at 7:10 a.m. New Zealand time. A little bit lofty from Moeen Ali, but that is a class cover drive, and that will end up being his first boundary, I believe, of the day. That'll close out the bowling over, and I would say his spell as well. I don't think we'll see him doing any more bowling just for now. Would Vittori make the English team now if he came out of retirement? And of course, if he was English, maybe. To be fair, they've brought back Moeen Ali, and I mean, Vittori, in some regards, has a few similarities to Moeen Ali in terms of the way that they bat, the aggression that they show, but then also that quality spin option. So maybe they're always looking for a spinner, England. Just like they're always looking for a keeper at the moment, ever since Johnny Bairstow has been struggling. I just think we are playing against a better side who also are missing arguably their best bowler, says Ryan there. And please just no whitewash. I'm the same. I want to make sure, or I want to hope that England will win at least one of the Ashes series. But like you said there, like they're the number one test team in the world for a reason. Yes, England have had a fantastic winning streak, but when you're versing a side that have just been such a well-oiled machine for so long, like it makes it very tricky. The fact that they could take a bowler out and then bring Boland in. Oh, that was a big swing. Sorry, I got excited, but that was a big swing, no ding from Ben Stokes, and that hurt him as well. He got down on one knee, not to propose, but to sweep. And I think his ass is hurting him. That sounds really weird out of context, but he's got a sore cheek. So I think he's going to start going a little bit more aggressive here because it might be the groin as well, the way that he was kind of gripping. And he's got to make sure he doesn't do any serious damage to himself. Who you watching the AFL? First time I've heard a Kiwi watching it, says Annoy. Did you hear Marsh missed his T20 launch in Texas for this match? And I mean, to be fair, it's probably a little bit worth it, isn't it? Because, like, yeah, brilliant innings from Mitchell Marsh, and maybe even taking Cam Green's spot with the way he did just play not too long ago. I understand anything can happen in the Ashes, but the depth they have is just untouchable. There's Ryan Walker. I think the best chance England had straight away was when they lost Nathan Lyon. That's a great drive from Ben Stokes, but he will only be rewarded with the one run. Stark fields nicely. But yeah, the fact that Nathan Lyon was missing, that seemed to be a great chance for them. But then, the slight problem I've got is it's a pace wicket for this one. So it doesn't really help them because you don't really need your spinner on a surface where a majority of your wickets are coming from quick bowlers. Do you think Anderson will come back next test for Robinson? Maybe, although, like Robinson, he's been a little bit under par, hasn't he, in terms of the amount of wickets he's been able to take. And you wonder whether or not it is just because of that little bit of a lack of pace for him. Like he's got that little bit of extra height, which does work well. But yeah, it's intriguing to know what they will do next. I think Mark Wood, he's been shown as a key player and player that maybe should have had the crack earlier to help out the English. They've picked the best pitch in terms of pace to be able to use him, but I think he'd still be very handy in the other one. Stokes is easy to dislike. Says Aussie Mozzie. And two guys just went past my place. One of them said RIP. He really done it this time with that oil filter falling off his car and causing a crash. Right, well, hopefully everyone's all right in that crash then, because that doesn't sound ideal. And I know I'm an Aussie fan from Adelaide, all AFL, who follows Highlanders. Long story, says GB. I know that the Highlanders kit at the moment on their website is about $60, which is cheaper than the 150 they try and charge throughout the regular season. Fun fact, didn't actually get myself one. Oi, good ball. That was beautiful. Scotty Boland just got excited because of how much that one moved, but very nicely done. Do you think Talia should have started over the chess guy on the wing? No, because Talia's injured. So they wouldn't have wanted to risk him. Like, I think he's still got 1 week left or week and a half left of his injury, and then they probably don't want to rush him back in. So that's why they've decided to go with Amoni Narawa instead. Which, to be fair, I mean, he's had a fantastic season, Amoni Narawa. So, could be the answer for the near future. Lol says Blues Nate. Welcome in, mate. Another short ball evening there, Kiwi lads. Says Nate. Nice single taken for Stokes. He's looking like he's hurting, though. That is going to be a big problem for England if that man can't bat. The thing is, he may not be able to run, but he can still bat. He'll just keep on swinging time after time as Stokes trying to give Ali the strike, says Ahmad. Not really, I don't think. I think he's just trying to rotate the strike. Because I would think, if anything, Ben Stokes would try and keep the strike if he was injured because he'd be trying to look for boundaries. So I think he's just playing his natural game and just the runs are there for the easy singles. Oh, that's in the air from Moeen Ali, but full safe. The umpire could have taken that one. Who do you want to win the Ashes or don't you mind? I don't mind too much at the moment for who I think will win the Ashes. Australia looking pretty strong. This one, I just hope that it's not a whitewash of a series because I feel like that takes away momentum from the next time the two sides play, seeing as it is going to be in Australia. This Rip guy is called that because he is well renowned for ripping pink stickers off his car that have been ordered off the road and keeping on driving them. I see. Nice shot. Goes down into the shadow of the stadium. Another single taken. And yeah, he doesn't look too flash, Ben Stokes. Mean Māori, mean Ben Stokes. Is that cheaper Tiger gear in the local shops? No, on the Highlanders website. The Highlanders shop. They've got it for $60, or at least they did the last time I checked. I don't know whether or not they've sold out now, but I'll have a quick look. I think they have a thing that if you spend a certain amount, they'll give you free shipping. I can't remember how much it is, though. Ooh. Soft hands. Well, you can get a gillet for 20 bucks. What is a gillet? Maybe I want a gillet. It's kind of like a puffer jacket without any arms. I got the gillets in all sizes. Oh, a club member gillet. I'm not a club member, so that wouldn't make sense. But you can get one for $20, ladies and gentlemen. The Highlanders home kit is not. Oh, no, it is still for sale. Oh, no, it's not. Or is it? No, it's not. You can get a hoodie for 60. You can get a home jersey from 2000 and no, you can't. Sold out. Okay, most of their stuff looks like it's gone. A singlet for the Islanders, a performance tee still there for $30. But you must be, I think, yep, you must be an XL. I think I pretty much gave you no help whatsoever. But yeah, the Highlanders website was where you could find some of it. Going to be hit down the ground from Ben Stokes. Well, lads, looking forward to the rugby this weekend in you, says Yarnlu. Yeah, should be a couple good matches. In fact, we've got more than a couple because we've also got AB's 15 versus Japan 15. Alongside that, we are also going to be having the under-20s rugby, which we're hoping to cover a little bit of. I don't know why I extended of so much there. I think it was because I was reading Ive from JB. GB. That is a G, not a J. I've got 2 old jerseys already. And the thing with the Highlanders is their kit doesn't massively change each year, does it? So I feel like if you've got an old one, you kind of got them all, you know? Murphy, there was a little bit of a peel there off his bowling. Slightly dragged down, but it sounded not too badly. The crowd appeal. I think that was the English crowd. Good revolutions on that ball, though, for Todd Murphy. Moen Ali 2. Balls remaining of this one. Oh, he's got a nice action, Murphy, and he does actually gets them down there at about 90, mid-90s, and I'd like to see him loft one down there a little bit more. Give Ali that little bit more flight. See whether or not he goes after it. He kept it flat. If you could only commentate on one sport, which would you choose? Says Joseph. I mean, here's a question. Can I still watch the other sport? I guess I just can't talk about it, right? But in that case, I'll probably pick rugby just because we do cover a lot more rugby. And test match cricket, I feel like since starting doing the streaming in a way, like me, mum and dad, like we used to watch the test match cricket a little bit more together. But now that I do the streaming of it, it's normally I'm in my box with you guys. I have a little, like one of those ones in the telemarketing things. But yeah, normally it's like me and you guys for the cricket, which I feel like a lot of you guys also watch the rugby stream. So I think I can get away with it. Oh, Pat Cummins back into the bowling attack. And also, what's up, Hamish? What do you think about the last test Mancad run out? Was that correct by Australia to do that, says Coding? A lot of people said it wasn't in the spirit of the game. A lot of people didn't feel as sorry for Johnny Bairstow as he has done it in the past to other batsmen. But it was certainly an anticlimactic moment in a test match that had plenty of climax near the end. But I think it hasn't heavily changed what may have happened in that contest, because I think if Bairstow didn't go out the way that he did, we wouldn't have seen Ben Stokes attack the way that he did, and then maybe, who knows what could have happened. But yeah, it was an interesting one. Definitely had to refresh the mind on the rule book. Yeah, Ben Stokes not looking flash at the moment. The hip is hurting, which is why I think a run out could be on. But then saying that, is that considered unsportsmanlike to run out a player who's got an injured leg? That's a great shot from Moen Ali. Hits it out through cover. That will be another 4 runs for him. Going very well. So Fartson's making his way to the middle, actually sitting on 17 runs. Ben Stokes sitting on 20 off 57. So the question is Ben Stokes taking more of a back foot approach and allowing Moen Ali to be the more aggressive batsman? Maybe so that he doesn't have to hurt that leg too much. Like Moen, that wasn't even really a hard shot. He just played it out through cover with that nice back foot punch. Straight a delivery from Cummins. Time it's a dot ball. Currently, England, though, they are sitting 142 runs that they are trailing by, sitting on 121, so they're slowly getting there towards halfway, and rugby definitely sees Hensel. So, yeah, overall, we've covered a lot more rugby on the channel. Then we have cricket. Although cricket, we've had one copyright strike. Rugby, we've had 3. But then in the equivalent of how many cricket to rugby matches, we still have more likeliness of getting struck for a cricket live stream. Hamish, did you buy any mangoes? Did YouTube keep the money? I'll send it through to the Kiwi lads. So because the copyright strike got removed, we then will eventually get that donation that you sent for the Super Rugby Pacific final, but I think it will take, I think it's like a month or so extra or something like that. But eventually the mangoes, hopefully by mango season, because currently there are no mangoes on the shelves here in New Zealand. And if there are, they are pretty rough looking. So I might have to get a bag of frozen mango to get me through to the summer. Another nice shot from Moen. Good punch. Well run between the wickets. West Indies are eliminated from qualifying for the World Cup, which is a shame because, you know, it's always nice to see a World Cup with the West Indies side in it. The thing is, in Indian conditions, would they have done very well? Maybe not. So is that something that's kind of useful for them to just have a little bit longer to rebuild? Have you eaten any fruits just from the tree straight? It says coating from the tree. I've had an apple from a tree before, like some real mini, I think they're called crab apples. We used to have a crab apple tree. But yeah, those ones. If we're talking plants, I've eaten like raspberries or strawberries or gooseberries off the bush. Congrats on your 25K subscribers. Thank you very much. Trino, usually appreciated. And True Boss, all good, Amish, hold up. Sears Blues, Nate. And Mango Vanilla Shake with a shot of. Something. Shot of, what would go with a Mango Vanilla Shake? What do you have shots of? Shot of gin, shot of vodka, shot of sure. Run rate 3.32 at the moment for the English. Only 27 minutes remaining in the session. It's been going quickly, ladies and gentlemen. I should mention we've got 2 videos that will be going up tomorrow morning. Also tomorrow afternoon, we will be setting up the live streams, or in fact, we might even have them up by the end of the morning. Those live streams taking place. Shot of tequila. There's Enzo, and Netherlands also qualified for the World Cup. Is coding. It looks like Ben Stokes taking some pills. Probably painkillers to try and deal with that hip. Anti-inflammatory. Yeah, the good news for Ben Stokes is he's got a 40-minute break in 27 minutes time to be able to sit there, get a massage, and try and work out exactly what is wrong with his leg/hip. But, of course, the Australians, they want to send him packing by then. If they can get that wicket. I said that if England were going to be less than 7 down at the end of the session, that would be a bonus. Even more of a bonus if they are still 5 down by the end of it. But Mitchell Starc now back into the bowling attack. They've decided that that was enough for Todd Murphy. And Ali almost chopping that ball onto his stumps off that very first delivery. Works it out to leg side, gets 1. Oh, no, he's been impressive so far throughout this innings. 19 runs off 41 balls. Stokes slowly starting to build up again. Will you see Trent Boult playing for New Zealand in the World Cup with regular contract? I'll be honest, I have no idea who the Kiwis are going to have in their side. We know of quite a few injuries, quite a few situations that it's not a very round ball, but it just fits through. Pat Cummins has a bit of a laugh about it, which makes the crowd boo. India home bully can play in home conditions only. Says Neutrino, just checking in. Joe got no runs again. I thought he would put his head down this morning and get some runs, says Peter. Yeah, unfortunately, just got a ripper of a second ball and also didn't need to play at it, but just trying to defend. Ended up with that outside edge, and it was a good take from David Warner. Almost looked like it was happening in slow motion for the delivery. 127 for England. Do you think the box will crumble at home tomorrow? I don't think so. I think that the fact that they've split their sides, they've certainly got a game plan and they're hoping that it works. If it doesn't work, of course, it's going to be unfortunate. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. We actually have a preview of that coming out tomorrow morning, New Zealand time. So probably in about maybe 9 hours' time, somewhere around there. So be sure to check that out if you want to know our exact prediction of what we think the score will be. Feeling bad for Mark Wood. He was lethal. Do you feel Anderson will retire after this Ashes? He's unfortunately getting close, Jimmy Anderson. And I'll be honest, I feel like maybe the way that the Australians bowled to him, he probably will start to think, maybe it is time for me to hang it up because he received a barrage of bounces last week and he did not look comfortable, which, you feel bad for him. Of course, there's tactics and then there's trying to get the guy and hurt him. And it seemed to be that was the tactic from the Australians. And I guess it worked because he's not playing in this one, but also they were going to be changing him more than likely anyway. Joe Root at the moment filling out some paperwork by the looks of it. Sitting alongside Brendan McCullum. Joe, who are you going on your rugby thumbnails for the weekend? No idea yet. I haven't even really done anything to do with this weekend other than editing those videos, which, I don't even know who's going to be in those ones as of yet. Currently trailing by 135. 2 balls left of the Stark over. Ali on 19 off 42. This partnership must be building towards, say, about 35, 40 runs, somewhere around there for these two. And kudos to Anderson for his career. Great to watch and a competitor. Other time to go. Yeah, it's getting to that stage now how if they can find that next young guy, like I know that for a while people were saying that Robinson's going to be the next Anderson, but I can't quite see it yet. I don't know what it is about Robinson, but he sometimes plays well, but other times you look at him and you think, is he trying? Does he actually want to be there? But having Mark Wood as a valuable option is massive. Chris Wokes has the potential, I think, of being a little bit similar to an Anderson, except playing more as an all-rounder. But you could put him down the order and he'd probably still find himself some decent runs on the board. Going to be slightly shorter. Outside the off-stump, we have got a donation from Yarnley Brand, the South African Rand. Thank you very much, mate. That's Canon Moody, isn't it? In the picture, maybe? Yourself the Stormers kits are taking a picture with the opposition. Now I'm at 39 overs down, 129 for 5. Now for the English. Yes, says Enzel. Is that yes for Chris Wokes being a possibility? Yep, says Yarnlu. And too many one-day T20 type players to pick from, says GB. And I guess something else they have to consider is depending on how they do approach the near future, or maybe not even the near future, but the future of English cricket, whether or not it is going to still be this Bazball type technique. If that is the case, they might look at a different, that's where someone like a Chris Wokes would work quite well because he can bat, but he can also bowl pretty decently. England is unable to replicate the Bazball in the Ashes. Any reason you think the line or length for the Aussie bowlers? I would say it's because they're facing the number 1 test side in the world. And no matter how effective it can be up against other sides, until you, I guess, become the number 1 team in the world, it's going to be hard to beat the number 1 team in the world. So England, it's a tricky one because a lot of people thought that they'd come into this series and Bazball would solve all of their problems. but it just, it didn't quite happen that way. And oh, we're halfway there, living on a prayer with the pounds, says Orion. Yeah, he's getting there. Oh, that's gone up from Moen Ali. Top edge. He's going to get away with it. It falls safe. No one quite gets to it. Marsh is a one-day player, says GB, for the Moody Q. But also for that, I guess, there's Enzel. Gone high. Yeah, Kawaja was never getting into that one. And in fact, neither was Alex Carey. It fell perfectly in the gap. If they had I'd say a backwards square leg would have cleaned that up every day of the week. Maybe even square leg getting around to it. Partnership now moves up to 43 runs off 92 balls. What is least successful, Bazball or Warren Ball? Says Hanoi. I mean, the benefit of Bazball is they have won previous games, which England, before the 2019 Ashes, couldn't really say the same thing, could they? They were going through a really tough patch with their batting in terms of a comparison to the Bazball side of things. So, like I would say Bazball's been relatively successful for England. They were all but getting themselves into that World Test Championship final, and perhaps that is a possibility for them for next competition. I was going to say next year, but they have got one more year after that, don't they? Before it comes back. Almost 40 overs down from the Australians. We'll ask the question yes or no in the chat. Will England face more overs than the Australians, who face 60.4? So pretty much, will England face another 20.2 overs? Oh, Moen Ali once again goes high. This is the chance. Steve Smith takes it well. As you're halfway through writing your answer, if you were typing yes, you may have to think about your other option. But Moen Ali, he is dismissed, chasing the wrong ball there. They knew that eventually he might go after one on that league side. And hello, so Australia, a good chance to win this game, to win the Ashes for 2023, says Naveen. And England thought whitewashing Pakistan on dead pitches was a success of Bazball, says Coding. And I mean, to a certain extent, I would say it was, because Pakistan on those pitches to force a result was a victory in its own right, wasn't it? No, says Ryan. Although it wasn't Ben Stokes. Mo Ali has been dismissed. Unless you trusted when I said that he might get 50 as well. I hope that you didn't though. But Moeen Ali going to be dismissed. This one, but yeah, to be able to force a result, something that New Zealand couldn't do in Pakistan conditions. Because unfortunately, some of those test matches, if England hadn't attacked the way that they did, they would have gone 7 days and we still would have been waiting for someone to win. Moeen Ali should retire. He has a terrible record against Australia, says Coding. I mean, he was retired and they brought him back for this Australian series. So I guess that comment alone makes you wonder, why did they bring him back for this Aussie series if he doesn't have the best record up against the Aussies? Chris Wokes makes his way to the middle. 17 minutes remaining in this session. And that was not an ideal time to lose a wicket for the English. Still trailing by 132. With 131 on the board, I just worry he won't get 24 with the remaining batsmen. Yes, Ali is trash. I don't know how he gets in. There's Ryan. Well, the good news, Ryan, well, the thing is, if he's not out, do you get your money back? I know that they had that in New Zealand a while ago. How if the batsman that you picked was not out when they had less than, like, I think you got your money back. They're doing the chant of same old Aussies always cheating. But I think that was a pretty legal wicket, that one, unfortunately. Now Cummins, ooh, short ball to Woke, so I ducked out of the way of that one. I kind of hunched up the shoulders. They gave me flashbacks of a ball I received a while ago. Although the only difference is that one actually went up into my helmet, hit me on the jaw, and I went back and accidentally whacked my stumps with the bat as I fell on my back. To be honest, the balls haven't swung as much as I thought they would, says GB. Yeah, it's just that little bit of seam movement, isn't it? That last minute little jag that's been causing the problems. We've also got a donation from Nate. you very much, Nate. Usually appreciate it. It's the super sticker. Oh, Wokesy. He's going after this ball, and I don't know whether or not that is the tactic that they should be using. No, I lose my money. Oh, well, come on, Stokesy. Says Ryan. And let's go Hamish the H trains. Says Blues Nate. And $29 well, says Coding. And so he's got the laughing in there as well. But this stage, I'm going to quickly see, is it going to be a Hippo super sticker? Or is it a different one? It is the Hippo, the OP. Kerr's been MIA for a little while, but I know that he's been very busy at work. But yeah, we haven't seen him on a live stream for about 4 weeks now, something like that. Australia Mango Super Chat says Coding. So yeah, that'll get a good old bag of frozen mango, won't it? I love playing cricket as a young one. It was so bad, like proper bad, says Hensel. See, I only recently got back into my cricket in terms of playing it after a 10-year break. But I think my problem is I think I'm about as good as I was 10 years ago, but I haven't really improved that much. So I feel like this year I want to take it relatively seriously. Well, oh, that's close. Stokes maybe going down leg with 3 reviews. Do they even consider it? No, they don't. But like, I feel like how many times have I said like in that little stage? Yeah. I'm gonna like take the training serious. That is, I'm not gonna take the games hugely like serious, seeing as we will be playing in a slightly lower grade. So at the end of the day, like you're just there to really have fun and enjoy it. But like in terms of trying to get fitter so that I can run between the wickets without like pulling a hammy would be brilliant. Seeing as I popped my groin like 4 times last season. How long till the end of the season? Says Ahmad. Is that for my season? The season actually ended a few months ago, but the new season will be coming back in about 3 months' time. I would have made you look good, Bitsy. And yeah, Mr. Gear, these days it must be flat out work and hope he's well, says Nate. And how much do you think England will get all out for, says Ahmad? I'm going to go with 210, but that's with Stokes getting his 100, or sorry, not his 100, his 50, because I want Ryan to get paid. And I feel like at the moment there's a slight chance, although Wokes has been very aggressive with how he's swinging for this ball. So, you know, he might score some quick fire runs, but it's whether or not he's still going to be there. Like, he's got to look at this, though, and go, there's 12 minutes till the end of the session. You don't want to expose another batsman to this bowling. You know, so, till the end of the cricket session, sorry. Oh, it's on the side of the head. How did you fix your groin? Did it get referred pain, or did it give referred pain, referred pain to lower back? Well, pretty much it's just any time I tried to like run, like it would end up just feeling like it was out of place. By the end of the season, like I could hardly, like I could move when it was freed up, but I had to do a lot of warming up before a game, or else I was pretty much limping the whole time. Like that innings that you guys have seen on the GoPro cricket that I did, like when I managed to get my first 50, that hurt. Like I was in pain after like probably 10 runs, and then I had to go on and run about 100 runs worth. And that was when I was extremely unfit. Can Wokes get 100? No, unfortunately. But I'm sure we won't mind as long as Stokes gets that 50. And yep, England need to get to the end of the session without losing another wicket. And this will benefit them because Wokes is now getting the HIA test due to getting hit in the helmet. It's a pretty square blow to the side of the head. Checking the helmet. I think they're saying that it is going to be all right. And I know, says Brandon. But yeah, just a real tight groin. I got to work out how to fix it though, because I know that as soon as I start up next season, within a couple games, like the problems are going to start appearing. They're just showing that Ben Stokes moment with Jack Leach, how there could have been a run out that Nathan Lyon missed. That was a fantastic end to a test match when Ben Stokes dug in the heels. And GB, not so sure about that. I could field well, but batting and bowling, it was a guaranteed duck. And going for loads of runs, says Hensel. Hello, Brandon, by the way, watch your interview with the Kiwi lads. Awesome. Cheers, Nate. It's me. But if you enjoy interviews as well, Nate, me and Rugby Itch, recently, we did actually do the first podcast of the Rugby Recap YouTube channel earlier on today or earlier on tonight. So be sure to check that out. It is the channel with myself and Rugby Itch on it, where we do talk pretty much all things rugby each and every week. Yeah, be sure to give that a look. It will be in the description of the preview tomorrow and also the pinned comment as well. They are just showing celebration for Ben Stokes. Celebrations last year with Jack Leach. Oh, and then they headbutted helmets. I think woke Stokes up. Right. I think Wokes is good to go now. Can England do something like they did in the fourth innings in 2019, Headingley? I mean, first of all, they need to work out how many runs they're going to be chasing because there might be a big difference between chasing a couple hundred and chasing 400 in that final innings, of course. Yep, we'll watch it, boss. Cheer. Cheers, Nate. Stark now. Another short ball to Wokes. Manages to hit it away to the leg side, out to deep square leg for the single. Now gets himself off the mark. The Gray Nichols bat. That's actually, I believe I'm going to be using a Gray Nichols this year. Hopefully. Unless it snaps in training, of course. Greetings, cricket aliens and Kiwi lads rockers. From wet, rainy Cape Town, Hamish, awesome as usual. Any news on Robinson's injury? Will he be able to bowl for England second time around? I hadn't heard a huge amount about his injury, to be honest. I might have missed it on day one. I know that there was one point where I went away, or actually I filmed a video of the All Black squad being announced. So it might have been during that time that he got injured. So yeah, sorry, don't know too much about it. If England get a lead, what number will it be? It won't be a huge one, I wouldn't think. I'd say if they lead, it would be less than 15. Well, definitely less than 50, but probably less than 15 runs ahead of the Aussies. Stokes, he's still on 27. There's a wee way to go, isn't there, for his 50? But, he's still being patient, which I guess is the main thing. They don't want Stokes to get a single here, which might be when Stokes actually decides to go a little bit more aggressive. Oh, that's going to hurt. Can't be aggressive when it hits you in the balls. Because him and Stokes not being able to bowl could hurt, says Enzel. Certainly could. Although as long as they got Mark Wood, I think there's still hope for the English. So that is definitely why you don't want to see him batting for a huge amount of time and receiving a whole heap of bounces, because it could end up being quite painful. Now only 7 minutes remaining. I'd say we'll get through another 2 overs of this session. How many overs did we have at the start of the day? I think it was 18. So they are going to be quite far behind, maybe only about 25 overs bowled. We'll just be covering session number 1 for today. I mentioned earlier on, the faller wicket was a 68 for 4 when we saw Joe Root fall earlier today. I've been missing the action, working hard off today in the local pub, screaming Jack, watching some Wimbledon and cricket at the same time, says Ruth. I think the local sports bar here, well, they called themselves a sports bar, but that's because they had a TV. That's a great shot from Chris Wokes. That's going to be 6 runs. It will certainly be useful. But yeah, the local sports bar, the only one that we had, or kind of had, is shutting down, which is slightly unfortunate. I think I've only been in there once. And when I went in there, I got ID'd to buy a mince pie. So, yeah. And the pie was just a normal mince pie, I should mention. Like, there was nothing special in it. There was no alcohol in it. But yeah, I got ID'd to make sure I was old enough to purchase the pastry. 1-6 in this innings, and that is from Chris Wokes. First of the day. Hey, matey, I'm good. Back to normal now. Working night shifts right now. Another big swing from that one. For Chris Wokes. All 500ml lagers are 30 Rand. Our best English breakfast for 50 Rand. says Ruth. I'm a little bit worried about how aggressive Wokes is still being, though, for the end of this day, or sorry, for the end of this session, because if he ends up going out now, I think they've still got time to bring out another batsman. Open a Kiwi Lads pub will be a good watering hole, says Enzo. Although the only problem we've got is pretty much there's not, he's hit it in the air again for Wokes. It is going to be safe. I think it's going to end up going for 2 runs here. The ball pretty much completely stopping by the time Kawaja got to it. Another 2 runs. But yeah, there's just not enough people around the local area, I don't think, to be able to warrant a pub. And hey, Hamish, lovely looking mustache. Waiting for some action tomorrow from the Aussies playing Bok tomorrow. Nick White's fabulous mustache. Says Ruth. How's the weather on your side? Hope it warms and cold here, says Blues Nate. Although Nick White, compared to my mustache, his kind of curls, doesn't it? He's got it kind of more. I don't even know if my mustache does curl. We're going to try it, though. His is very thick and bushy. Mine is not really, but he kind of... Is this going to work? You're going to... That worked a little bit too well. Yeah. He kind of has it up like that, doesn't he? Wokes ducks out of the way of that one. Well, kind of ducks and also tries to smack the screws off it. He tried to hit it without even looking at it. Kiwi Lads pub, we speak the lingos. Says Nate. No, Nate, it's freezing with storms all weekend, predicted heavy rains. Oh, is it going to be raining for the South Africa-Australia game? Because I feel like that could heavily impact how both sides play. Another short ball. Nicely played by Chris Wokes. This one actually going forward a mid-wicket. And wish we goods. Says Nate. Another single taken. Stokes will now have the remaining ball of this Cummins over. I would say they'll probably bring the men round the bat. Try and keep Stokes on strike. And if he wants to go over the top, they'll give him that option. Oh. Steve Smith tripping on the boundary rope. Crowd were giving him a little bit of stick in the background, but I think it was all in good spirits. Cummins at the moment, he's sitting on 4 wickets taken. He's got the chance of not just a 5 for here, but perhaps even just that a little bit higher. Now Stokes' final ball of this over. And then I believe there will be 1 over remaining, way down the leg side from Pat Cummins. And like they're saying, probably deliberately bowl way down the leg side so that Stokes is unable to hit it. And now Wokes will still be on strike. And Zurich is boiling over 30 degrees here. Here we're sitting 4 degrees Celsius, so nice and warm. You know, my phone has been given real problems, says Ruth. Yeah, I think the only slight issue I'll have is the fire's gone out, which means that I don't think it will get fired back up. Is that Bennett? No, it's not. I was going to say, is that Stephen O'Keefe, but it's not. It's a different fella. He's a Ben Stokes supporter. Now, Mitchell Starc will be the last bowler for this session. I'm expecting at least 1 short ball round. Chris Wokes' head, if not maybe 3 or 4, mainly because they'll be looking to try and get him to pull and then get himself caught. Now, Wokes, 10 runs off 9 deliveries. It's short. There is the edge, and that'll be the wicket. And that will be, is it the end of the session now? Wokes hasn't reviewed. And they've said, yep. Oh, Wokes has actually gone upstairs for this. He's not sure what he's hit or what it's hit. You're only doing the first session today. That is the plan. Afterwards, we will be editing 2 videos. And then also, we will still be watching the cricket, of course, but yeah, just editing at the same time. Right, check the front foot. It is fine. Has Chris Wokes just thrown his wicket away? What would it have hit? It is a clear noise. The only thing it could be if it's not batter's shoulder. And I would have thought he would have been a lot more confident that it had hit his shoulder. There's an edge. And that is going to be Wokes gone. So that's now 7 down. I think tell you what, Stokes will be frustrated with that. But at the same time, you can't really blame Chris Wokes for going after that short ball because it's going to be bowled again and again and again by this Australian lineup. So do you get yourself the runs while they are there? It's going to be dismissed now. He wasted a review, says annoying. Says Ryan, yeah, only 3 batsmen remaining. If you do remember rightly, I said if he doesn't get to 50, he will still be not out. But yeah, still 121 runs to make up. I think it's going to be probably Mark Wood and Ben Stokes. So they'll try and keep Stokes quiet throughout the next little patch. But nonetheless, it's going to be the end of this live stream for today, ladies and gentlemen. We're not too sure if we're doing the cricket tomorrow night yet due to the rugby that we are going to be covering. But I believe the night after that, we are going to be covering at least some of the Ashes and then also day 5. If it gets to day 5, which at the moment seems slim, but we will be covering plenty more of it in the near future. Come on, England. We need this series level to keep it interesting. Lunch, says Hensel in there as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. It is hugely appreciated you all being here. You have enjoyed the live stream. And yeah, like I mentioned, we will be back with some rugby tomorrow. Also, a little bit more of the Ashes in the near future. But thank you all very much for tuning in. I will see you all for the next one.